Right, hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about JSX and components. Last week, Ricardo started teaching you React. Right, do you guys remember how to render content to the browser? So here we have the app where we can render content to the browser. Do you remember how we can do it? Do you remember? No, as in how do I, say for example, I want a title. Do you know how I can put it into this browser? So for example, can I do this?
No, you need some tag, an H1 tag.
So can I simply just type in Kadiri here? Does it work?
No.
So we have how many no's? Yes, yes, no, no. Right. So let me show you guys. Oh, it does work. So even though there's no HTML tag, as long as you put in text here, it will still work. However, you guys mentioned H1 tag. Can you remind me how to do it? Anyone can remind me? It is a triangle, an arrow, yeah? Come on, carry on. H1, yep. What else? Yeah, close it. Yeah, everyone agrees? Oh, and that's it. Right, what shall I write? What shall I put in the middle? Yeah, Kadiri? And let's save it. Oh, it does work. So what if I want to change its color? Yeah, CSS. So this file here? Right. Ooh. Don't want to spoil that. Right, so what H1, yeah? And then what? Go to brackets. And color. What color do you like? Blue. Standard. So it works. Yay. Right. So what else can I use as a selector?
Class or an ID?
Yeah, ID. Shall you start with ID first? And then ID and then what? Equals. Yeah, carry on. Does it work if I put in what ID shall I just call it title?
I need to enclose it in some quotes.
What do you mean by yeah, quotes? So I do this. Brilliant. So how do I reference it? So if I add, yeah, and then title, right? Right. What shall we do this time? Shall I use it? Shall I give it a property of background color? And let's just say green. Doesn't matter. So, yep, it works. And what's the other one? What's the other attribute? Class. Yeah, just class. What shall we call it? I don't know. Call it heading, whatever. Doesn't matter. Right, how do I reference it? What shall I do this time? Size? Yeah, font size. I don't know, call it 20 pixels, whatever. Right, although it still works, but I'm receiving an error here. What does it say?
Oh, because you're using JSX, you need to use
Exactly. So what do I need to do? Here. Yeah. So no error. Okay. So this is known as JSX. So do you think this is also HTML?
Yeah, it's a combination.
Nope, it's actually JavaScript. So Facebook used, what programming language do they use for JSX? Huh? Yeah, JavaScript, exactly. So although it looks like HTML, but they programmed it. The program is similar to HTML, so it's all JavaScript. However, what if I say? Does anyone know how to declare a variable? Are you familiar?
Let on a constant.
Yeah. So do you know the difference between const and let?
Constant is a constant, you cannot change it.
Exactly. So const you can't. Exactly.
Mutable.
Exactly. So const you can't reassign, whereas let you can reassign. So let's just use const for now. Right. So let's just say I want to create a title here. Let's just say, I don't know. Well, give me a title. I don't know, coding school, whatever. So I basically want this title to be here. Do you know how I can reference it? Yeah, put early braces, yeah? And then what?
But I think before the curly brackets, I think you need to put the dollar sign, right?
Why do you need a dollar sign? No, because basically okay. I know what you mean. That's ternary literals. That's fine. However, I'm not exactly doing any concatenation or anything. I'm simply reference it from this constant, from this variable to here. So well done for spotting that. That's fine. But if I do this, it will just give me the word title. If I surround it with curly braces, it will give me that. Exactly. So do you know what? So that's not exactly JSX. What do you call this? Are using JavaScript? While using curly braces, it's called JavaScript expression. So even though all of this is created by JavaScript, however, Facebook kind of programmed it to not exactly to be like JavaScript. So basically it's even though it's not HTML, but it programmed it to behave like HTML. Does it make sense?
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. So basically, Facebook, they use JavaScript to create JSX. Even though it's not HTML, but they made it behave like HTML. So it's a mixture of JavaScript and HTML, basically. Right. So that's one method to render to the browser. There is another method. There are two methods to render content to the browser. So one is JSX, and the other one is called create element. So let me show you. So I do title again, and I use this function called create element. Right. Let's just basically do this again. Let's create a heading again. So the first argument would be the type of tag you want, so h1. And the second argument is what kind of attributes do you want to add to this tag. So for example, I want to add an attribute of ID. Let's just call it main title. So that's one attribute. Maybe another one for, I don't know, title. So yeah, again, title, whatever. And then lastly, name. Whose name should I use? I don't know. Jake, you don't mind? I use Jake. And then the final argument will be the content. So basically the title, let's just call it Kodiri again. Oh, I didn't add a comma here. So are you guys familiar with objects? What? Yeah? So we have a prop, so this is known as props. So we have the key and the value. And if there's more than one property, I will have to add a comma to it. And so on. Right. So this is exactly the same as this one. So if I use console.log just to check it out. Sorry, it should be colon. So under console.log, so you have a look at this. So what I want you to focus is on props and type. So I created a tag called a tag type of h1, and here's the props. So I have an object of ID, an attribute ID, attribute title, and name. So and we have children, which is mainly what I'm trying to render to the browser. So does it make sense? So have you done the React challenge before?
No.
No. So prop is very important to actually learn. So in the next lesson, I will cover props, but for now, I'm just basically introducing to it. Any questions, guys?
Is that in the links in the documentation?
Pardon?
There's a link to the documentation, no? Where we can find.
Yeah. I will send that to you later. Yeah. Okay.
Go back to that create element and explain why is it exactly the same as type
So I can't.
This const title equals React create element.
So it's a function. It's a React function. So it's very similar to. It's just different types basically. This is another function from the React library. So for this one, this is JSX. It's just another function from the library. However, would you be comfortable doing this all the time? So let's just say I want to create a subtitle of this. I want to create another one here, description, whatever. Would you be comfortable doing this? So let me render it for you. Let me show you. So I have a title, subtitle, and then description. Well, it doesn't matter. Even though it works, but would you be comfortable doing this all the time? Yeah, too many codes, isn't it? Yeah, it just looks weird, doesn't it? So that's one method to create elements, to create the content to the browser. Obviously, the most popular way is to use this, really. I can just do this all the time. So I can create title, I don't know, put description here, blah, 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 you know, so coding school, whatever. I'll remove this. So Kodiri. Yeah? Any questions, guys? Any questions? Yeah? All good? Yep. Right, so what if I want to do some maths? What if I say I want to do 10 times 10? Will this work? Nope. So do you remember Java's JS expression? How do I make this 100? Nice. Curly braces. So yeah, so it works. Cool. Any questions, guys? Right. So let me introduce you to functions. Do you remember how to create a function? Like components? Yeah, function. So say for example, I want to create a function header. What else? Curly braces. And then what? Return. Brackets, yep. And then what?
What I want to return.
Pardon?
What I want to return.
Yeah. So say for example, I want to return the title, Kodiri.
Right. So then, like H1.
Yeah, H1, yeah. H1. So again, Kodiri. Right, and then what if I want description, like, I don't know, like a paragraph of, I don't know, coding school, whatever.
Then you can just another line.
P, yeah. Right. Will this work? What's going on here?
Communication.
Pardon?
I think it's doing the
No, carry on. Carry on.
Does it need commas to separate
Commas? No, no, no. This is not an object. It's pure. This is JSX.
needs a parent?
Pardon?
Needs a parent.
Nice one. Yep, parent div. Nice. So these two are child elements. So a child must have a parent, right? So you must surround it with whatever, like a div or a header, whatever. Yeah, let's just use div for now. So will this work?
It's never used, so you use it.
So how do I use it? How do I render it? Yeah? And then what? See? It works. Brilliant. Now I want to create another function. So let's just say function, I don't know, student, whatever. Return, and then have a parent element here, and then let's have another. Let's have let's do h2, whatever. So let's just say I want a title of student name. Right. But the thing is, I also want to have another function, well, not a function, but another div, another tag, which creates a form. Do you remember how to create a form? So let me create div first. Let's just call it class name form. Do you remember how to do an input tag? Yeah? And then what? Do you remember? Say again? Yep, type, but how do I close it first? How do I close this tag? Can I simply do this? It works, but it's essentially like this. Input like this. So you said type, right? So I want to create a form box that allows students to type in their name. So what type is it? Text. Cool. Right. I also want to create a placeholder that will ask students that will say, please type here. How do I do that? Placeholder, yeah? I don't know, let's just say, please type your name, whatever. Right, and I also want, I don't know, maybe another tag, form tag, like text area. How do I do that? And then what?
Type text.
Right, let me show you guys. So how do I reference this function? Do you remember? Yeah. Yep, you got it. Right. So what exactly is the problem with this function? So I have a function student which shows the heading of student name, and it does another task which shows the form. So what exactly is the point of React?
Function doing too many things?
Yep. So it's doing too many things, isn't it? So would you recommend this method? So for example, I want to, so maybe I want, I don't know, 3 forms. Do you find this confusing? So 3 forms that does different things. So would you prefer to separate them or leave it as it is? So let's separate it.
in another function.
Exactly. So how do I do that? So I want this div form to have its own function. Can you remind me how to do it?
Function
Mm-hmm.
or
Capital or not capital? Why is that? Why is that?
because it put capital in the others.
Yeah. So with components, you must use capitals for the first letter. So
Components.
exactly. So essentially, so for example, let's go back to headers. So if I create a function, well, actually, you know what? I'll just do this. If I create a function header, it won't work because you are required to capitalize the first letter because we already have this. Are you familiar with another header, another tag called header? So there is another tag called header. So essentially, that React will think, oh, you're trying to render the header tag rather than the component tag, if that makes sense. So always capitalize your function or component. Pardon?
We don't want to do that for students. Could we do that with students?
You mean capital?
Yes, more letters are there.
But yeah. Sorry, I don't understand your question. What'd you say?
Okay, so we couldn't remove the capital in header because there's a tag called
Header, yeah, exactly.
But what about with students?
I've never heard of a tag called student.
So we can do it on.
No, you can't. No, you must capitalize your component.
Ah.
So that's number one rule for React. Okay.
With the React, it doesn't send us a function. You work on it or a component if you're breaking into little pieces.
So anyway, that's the number one rule. Always capitalize your component. Okay. Right. Let's get back to this main subject. So can you remind me again how to separate this function? How to create a function called form? So you said function, didn't you, earlier? Form. Yeah. So capital F, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then what? Parentheses. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Inputs.
All right. I think. Okay. Cool. That's fine. Input. So exactly. Well. So similar to the one above.
Yeah.
So I'll just copy this anyway. And then I also want the text area.
Right, I integrated there.
Mm-hmm. That's it. So for my document. And I'll just do this. Yeah, I'll give it a class name. Here. I'll just get rid of this. So yeah, you can do that. So what if I really want to reference the function form here? So I don't want to do this, do I? I mean, I don't want to do this again. No way. It's too long, isn't it? So
just reference form.
Like this, right? Yeah. So like this, right? To reference it. Mm-hmm. So, oh, what's the problem here? This red thing here. Exactly right. Has to be within the parent element. Actually, you know what? Let me give it a class name, just to make it clear for you guys. Mm-hmm. Right. So for this student function, I don't really want a form. What if I want like a select box? Do you remember how to do that? So instead of typing your name, so let me render it first. Hold on. There we go. So I don't exactly. Ooh, I don't exactly want the input box and the text area. I want a select box, that will list out all of the names. I want to create another function. Let's just say I want to create another function called, I don't know, select box, whatever. So return, is that right?
Capital S.
Oh, well done. So capital S, and then, I don't know, div, so like the parent element, and then select the tag for the select box, and then what? Like this, right? So how do I create the options here? Options tag, right? Let's just say I'll give it a list of names. I don't know, Jake, I only know your name. Sumi? Right, so that's it. So here's a function student. I don't want the component form, but I want the select box. So again, I just do this. Oh, yeah, this still works anyway, it doesn't matter. So we have two options, Jake and Sumi. Did I spell your name right, Sumi?
Yes,
Okay. Close enough, close enough. How's this, right? Yeah, cool. It works. So yeah, so essentially, I would prefer to have my component as short as possible, but at the same time, I can still reference other components and implement it to another component, if that makes sense. Any questions, guys? Right, so now we have header and student. Now, in real life, would you accept this?
Question.
Pardon?
For instance, where you have Jake and Sumi.
So look, Jake and Sumi, you're gone.
Okay. For instance, if you want to leave the box empty and just
Oh, yeah,
once you scroll.
I can simply just do this. Yeah, like this. Yeah. Any questions? Cool. Right. In real life, would you accept this as an app? In terms of organization?
I would create different folders.
Well, yeah, different folders, or put each. Exactly, essentially, yeah. So how do I do that? So let's start from header.
So create a new folder.
Yeah.
I'll copy and paste.
What should I call it? Components? Yeah? Let's call it components for now. And I create a new file, header. And then what? .js, yeah? Right, and then what? So let me cut and paste this. So ignore the error for now. Right. Will this work if I just cut and paste it here? Will it? That's it. Do you know why? Exactly. So JavaScript. This whole environment is JavaScript. So JavaScript doesn't know what you're doing here. However, if I put, since this is React, I need to let them know, I need to let JavaScript know that I'm inviting a friend here. So React, and then what? Like this. Right. There's one more thing here.
You to explore the folder.
Yeah, exactly. So there's two methods. What's the first method? If I want what? Export default. Yep. What's the second method? Oh, export default wrong. So that's perfectly fine here, but I can also put it here as well. As long as I reference the component name here. Pardon? So if you want to import a function in the app.js, you always have to let React or JavaScript know that you want to export it. Does it make sense?
Meaning we're going to use it somewhere else?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So is this all correct? Are you happy with this? All right, cool. So what if I want to reference it? So I spoiled it. So I want to reference that from this file here. Right. So it says header is not defined. You import it again, exactly. Can you tell me how? Import the variable header, and then what? So how do I reference the file name?
Dot slash.
Dot slash, here, go on.
And then the file we just created.
Doesn't work. How do I, what's
So
the,
you need to say first the folder that it is in. Components.
yeah, so what's the folder's name? Components, right?
Yeah.
And then what? Still not found.
Components.
JS.
Well done. That's it. Right, what else does it give? Okay. So you don't exactly need to reference the .js because it's JavaScript anyway, this environment. So you don't exactly need to reference that. So it still works. Right, let's move on to the next one. So I want to separate this student function into this folder. So new file. What should I call it? .js, right? Alright, so let me cut and paste this. This is going to be tedious, but let's do it again. So is it import React? And then what else I need to do? Just export default, yeah? And then student. Right, next one. Okay, it's going to be tedious. Right, let me do another one. Actually, you know what? Let me also import it here as well. Student. Okay, might as well put a colon, might as well. That's fine. That's done. Next one, form. So if I do another file here. Just copy this very quickly. Right, export default and then form, right? Yeah, I spelled it right, that's good. Yep, so, so on and so forth. Pardon?
Have you used JSX syntax for this?
For what, sorry?
For the components that you created?
ES6, what do you mean by ES6?
The fat arrow.
Yeah, I can do that. Oh, you mean like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, I can do that. So form, and then what? What do I need? This is arrow function. What?
The arrow with the return.
So equal and then what? Yeah, so essentially it's the same. Yeah.
So you can do both.
So you can use ES6, effectively the same, it doesn't matter. You can use function like this, or you can use the ES6 like Simi mentioned. Completely fine.
Very slight differences though, right? One is a function declaration, and one is a function statement, yeah, that you save into a variable. So it's not quite doing the same thing. They're usually used interchangeably, but functions you write like that with the function keyword get hoisted to the top of your file. Functions you write assigned to variables don't get hoisted. So you need to make sure that you do not invoke the function before declaring it.
Right, yeah.
Right? You're allowed that way, that Vince is currently on, to, other one, yeah. You're allowed that way to call the function before declaring it. Yeah? And then all the function declarations will get hoisted to the top so you don't run into errors. The other way, you need to make sure you definitely declare and save your functions to a variable before you invoke it. Otherwise, you're going to run into errors. So, very slight differences, but yeah, usually used interchangeably, and some people now will always use your method soon. Yeah.
Hmm. But it is, so that's fine. But both methods are fine. Right, let me complete this final one. This might bore you for a few minutes. So let me do the last one. So select box .js. So export default. Select box. Cool. Right, and also I need to reference it. So what am I missing? So am I missing? Yep. So I've got student, I've got header, I've got form. Now I need to use select box. But while I'm doing this, do you have any questions, guys? Yeah? It's not defined. Yeah, go on.
So what's left in the JavaScript file? I've never seen this before.
Pardon?
Like all the functions to be defined and put in separate files.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah. So
Except the word classes or something.
I can't hear you.
What's left in the JavaScript file?
Yeah, class. So I'll be teaching that next week. So what I'm teaching you right now is called stateless components. So next week I'll be teaching you stateful components. So states basically. So I'll cover that next week. So don't worry. Yeah. Okay. Right. Any other questions?
Can I just pick up on that point? Are you saying why do you put functions in separate files? Is that your question?
So was that your question?
Yeah, first two things. I've never seen functions with a capital letter. I saw that classes had capital letter.
Yeah. So from my point before, so the reason why we capitalize the first letter is because React or JavaScript or whatever might think you're trying to do a HTML tag. So for example, So does that make sense? Yeah.
And the second thing, like I saw that everything in the JavaScript file we are sending to other files. So I was thinking what's left. Normal functions, for example, or
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're trying to.
They're still
Yeah, I don't know.
there, but they're references from different files because that's the idea of the lesson today. We try to split that in different components in case we need to reuse them for different purposes. We're going to reference just a specific component, so the specific file that Vincent created. We're not going to import the components that we don't need for purposes. We're going to use the forms in the future or something like that. If I understand correctly.
But yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so in modern development, we break things up into lots of small pieces, yeah? We break it up into components. React is at the forefront of component-based architecture, yeah? We break everything up into very small, manageable chunks. The reason we do that is to make our code more scalable, more maintainable.
yeah.
What do you think is easier to debug? A component with 30 lines of code in or a component with 3,000 lines of code in? Yeah, it should be obvious, right? The smaller file is going to be easier to debug and to find that error inside. So that's one of the reasons why we create these separate files everywhere and we just use modules to import and export things. It makes our code easier to debug, easier to maintain.
Yeah.
And companies waste 90% of their time just debugging and fixing broken code. Yeah? So anything we can do to make that process easier, we will do it.
So
And
the JS file will have code that we don't think we're going to reuse. So everything we think we're going to reuse, we put in components. But the rest stays in JavaScript, file?
Yeah, everything we think we're going to reuse, we put into a new component. And that's why it has the capital letter. Yeah. Capital letter is a component, whereas a normal function will just have a lowercase letter.
Yes,
But a functional component must have a capital case letter. This is something about React and something about components. We just need to say that it's we just need to name it with a capital letter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's answered most of your questions a little bit, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like we remove everything from the JS file and what code is left in the JS file. I think things that we don't plan to use again.
I understand what you're saying. In the main app.js, what you're doing is importing all of those functions, But by creating each of those functions, they can also be imported each into the other. So student could also import a select file. So it depends on what you want to render on each of those pages and how you want to configure each of those components. So what's left in that root file, which is that abstract.js file, is whatever you pass into it.
Basically, the sum of the parts.
Yeah, we've passed in a header component, and that header component is then, I imagine, made up of other components, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
So to your point, but this makes it easier if you see a bug, if you see it's not working, you can go directly to where the problem is.
Yes.
You don't have to go through 3,000 lines of code.
Exactly.
Just go to those 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Exactly.
look at the moment, we've got some sort of error. It says there's an error
Yeah.
inside
I'm gonna
I'm
come to that, yeah.
Sure.
So what's the problem here? So I'm already under the folder component. I don't need to reference it, do I? I don't need to put components anymore, do I? So how do I fix this? Yep. I just answered your question. So let's go back to app.js. So now I now want to include header, but I also want to include the student function component. Can you remind me how to do it again? So we can use this method, doesn't matter. So it still works. Right. So under student, I no longer want the select box. I want the form. Anyone remind me how do I use form again? Right. Do you think it's going to be an error later? That's it. Exactly. So let's just do this very quickly. It should work. Nice. It works. So yeah. So like Ray said, you can reuse your component wherever you want. For header function, I can put the form here if I want, put the select box here as I want. So essentially, the header is the parent component, whereas if I put form here, form will be the child component. Does it make sense? Right.